Hello, family, and welcome to Amazing Parents Network. I am the host of this show. My name is Ali Lankarani, Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer. I'm a clinical neuroscientist, and I am very happy that you have taken the time to be here with us tonight. We have dozens of experts that are going to be presenting in the upcoming months. These are called the Family Education Series. Please invite your friends and family to come and benefit from the resources and the expertise that is going to be presented here. We're glad to have you here. We're glad to have our experts. Enjoy tonight's presenter. Thank you.
Aloha, beloved friends and family. I so love welcoming you with aloha, bursting with blessings of truth, humbleness, and divine love, light, and breath. If we haven't met before, my name's Timothy. Welcome to the last episode of Raising Brilliant, Healthy, and Happy Children from Womb to Independence. In each episode, a very special family and childhood expert has joined me sharing their wisdom, love, and invaluable tips to help you unlock your and your children's full potential, nurture your bodies, minds, hearts, and souls, and shape your future success. In previous episodes, we've highlighted aspects of raising brilliant, happy, and healthy children in the womb and as youngsters. Today, we're going to focus on our teens, and I'm so delighted that with us now to do that is Jackie Bailey. Jackie's an international conversation coach, communication expert, trainer, speaker, author, and founder of the nonprofit Speak, Feed, Lead, whose love, wisdom, and inspiration are a brilliant, bright light in my life and the lives of so many families. Before Jackie shares about the brilliance of communicating effectively with kids and teens, I want to share that learning how to effectively communicate when we're a teen makes all the difference in our future success. The other essential ingredient in that success and a fundamental building block in our human development from cradle to grave is what I call the missing link. A missing link we're all designed to find in our teenage stage of development. When our guidance is passed from our parents to a true spiritual teacher. That's the link missing in most people's lives today because parents are missing it too, and they can't give to their children what they haven't discovered themselves. Joseph Chilton Pearce, one of the foremost experts on human development, knew experientially and through decades of research and counseling others that as children grow, there comes a point where they naturally seek broader experiences and connections beyond the immediate family. This transition involves the child being exposed to different mentors, including spiritual teachers or guides who can play a role in their continued growth and understanding of the inner and outer world. In his classic Bond of Power, Joseph said, no capacity can unfold without an appropriate model and proper nurturing. A child could imitate or construct a model of his universe around any model and respond accordingly to his construction. He does model what he's given, and so does as we do. He is blocked not because of some innate lack, but from an outer lack of models and nurturing. We do not model our lives according to theories or abstract functions, but according to live, visible, tangible models. We do not bond to universal processes, but to persons. The power of the bond can come into our life only through the powers of the bonded person. I encourage you to help your team find a spiritual mentor, one bonded with God, with their divine human blueprint, who can help them rediscover this within themselves. If you want to become a great carpenter, you apprentice with a master carpenter. If you want to become great at anything, you develop and hone your talents with a great mentor. And I don't know of any mentor greater than Jackie to help your teen develop and empower their communication skills. So, with all my love, welcome, Jackie. And in the way too little time we have together, what are the golden nuggets you want everyone to have around the brilliance of communicating effectively with kids and teens?
Timothy, first of all, I'm so honored to be here with you and honored to be part of this amazing show that you're creating and all of the golden nuggets that you've offered for so many weeks now to your listeners. And
Thank
I
you.
appreciate our friendship and all that you do for young people and families as well. So, to start with, I would say that communication is often overlooked as a way for parents to, as you say, bond with their children, especially in this day and age where there are devices that we carry with us all the time and that are often barriers between us and our kids. We need to put down those barriers. We don't realize that sometimes as parents that we're actually building those walls by our own
Mhm.
behavior. And then we wonder, why don't my kids talk to me? Why won't they answer my questions? Why won't they do what's expected or something like that? And unfortunately, I think in most cases it's because we as parents have trained them that way. So I would say the most important aspect of what I do for youth and families is helping people to feel confident in their ability to contribute to effective conversations and how those conversations create that bond in relationships that are absolutely vital.
And what are some of the easy tips that or places parents could integrate that communication within their normal day? Things that they might not realize they can do so easily.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it for a moment and run through possible scenarios of what our kids go through throughout a day and how many statements we and other people in authority are throwing at them. Get up, go eat breakfast, grab your backpack, get your lunch, get to the bus. Then they get to school, get in your seat, get your homework out. They're getting a whole bunch of statements.
Mhm.
Statements don't engage in conversation. And what our children are learning is that they don't have a say, or what they have to say is just not important because everybody overlooks it. And so, if we think of our children as a self worth account, if you will, we need to consider what are we depositing in that account and what are we withdrawing from the account. And if we are withdrawing more from the account by using statements rather than depositing by asking questions, then at the end of the day, we've lost another opportunity to get closer to our kids. So I would suggest that parents first think about how to ask more questions to engage with their children rather than make statements at them.
Yeah, and then because the children are going to have statements, commands made at them all day long when they're not with the parents, maybe there could be some sort of a decompression when they come home. It's
Ab-
like, how did you, what happened in school today? Did somebody command you to do something or demand that you do it? Or how did you feel like you had to listen to a bell and go from room to room or get told to do this and let
Right.
them decompress what they actually feel about it?
Yeah. And that's often where again we as parents fall short because this is a very common scenario. All right. Mom sitting like that, mom or dad sitting like this. Kid walks in the door after school. They throw their backpack to the side, right? They walk in, and mom goes, "Hi, honey, how was your day?" Kid looks over, mom's texting, whatever she's doing. Maybe dad's working at the computer. That child thinks they aren't really interested in how my day was. It's a courtesy question. And therefore, I'm not going to waste my breath responding to it because they're not listening to me anyway. That's pretty typical. So that's why I'm saying that if we ask different questions and are fully present when we do so, it's going to go a long way to helping our kids have that trust in us as parents and know that when they do speak, they're being heard. And then by that example, that relationship will be built stronger. So instead of asking, how was your day? Which is typically going to get a fine or a good or a whatever from your kids. Sometimes it's even just a grunt. Engage a little bit more with something such as, hey, honey, what was the best part of your day? Or how did you do on your math test today? Or who did you sit with at lunch today? If you start with questions like that are less rote and more engaging, your child will start to open up a little bit more, as long as you stay clear of the emotional reactions that we can sometimes have. What? You didn't have lunch today? You know, mama drama, right? And that will silence our kids too. So if we want to have children that feel confident and free to talk to you so that they will share the most important parts of their experience with you, then you need to be willing to set your emotional reactions aside. And I say there's 2 words that parents could actually say whenever they are surprised by what their child says or what might sometimes cause that initial emotional reaction. 2 words. That's interesting. That's interesting are words that totally remove any emotion and then allow you to think as the parent for a moment, take a breath, and then just listen and maybe ask, tell me more about that. And allow your child to be free, even if it feels uncomfortable to you or they're saying something that you don't agree with or that might make you angry or frustrated or whatever. Listen instead. Just by starting, that's interesting. Tell me more about that. Or how did that make you feel? Or if that happened again, what would you do differently? Those are the types of follow-up questions that are going to allow your children more independent thinking and problem-solving skills that we also want to develop in them as well.
What advice do you have for I'm going to go back to your example of the parents sitting there, and they're all engrossed in something they're doing, and maybe it's important.
Right.
Okay, maybe it's just not texting out of a friend or scrolling Facebook or something, but it's really important. And the child comes home and you really don't have the time right then and there. What can you say to that child to let them know they've been heard, that you want to give them the attention they deserve?
That's an excellent question, Timothy. And one thing I might suggest, and it's really dependent upon each particular situation, but if a parent could say, hey, Johnny, glad you're home. Go grab a snack, put your backpack away, get your shoes off, whatever makes you comfortable, and then give me 15 minutes and we can sit down and chat about your day. So
Nice.
give them an opportunity to get comfortable, to decompress, as you said before, and then rally together when you're both in a better state where you can talk and listen to each other. So that's an excellent question to ask because that happens frequently, right?
What do you think about setting time at the actually making time at the beginning of the day and or at the end of the day where the family actually comes and gets together? It's a planned activity. It's on a regular basis where they can actually be deep with one another.
Yeah, that's a generational, traditional type of setting that I think we used to have when I was growing up. even though my family was somewhat dysfunctional, as a lot of families are, we still had dinner together. And I think in our busy world today, meals together can often be rushed, or they're done in the car because we're picking kids up from different after school activities and things like that. But if there's a way for a family to find that as a priority and schedule a dinner, even if it's just 20 or 30 minutes when the family can sit around a table together with the television off and the phone set aside, just to review the day. And maybe if it starts to feel like you're trying to force conversation, maybe it's a situation where you can check schedules for the following day. You know, at the end of one day, everybody gets together and we're just going over the schedules for the next day so everybody knows who their ride's going to be to this class or whatever, what time we need to be there, something like that. You could use that as an excuse if you need to, if it starts to feel like you're doing this out of force to just have a conversation. But there should be a time every day when the family can get together and huddle, whether it's over a meal or over family council or planning session or something like that. The families that I know who are the most successful have this as a priority in their day. So I'm glad that you brought that up. It's a big deal.
And listening to you, I've literally never thought of this before, but as I was listening to you, I was thinking in those spaces at the table where maybe nothing is happening and you don't want to force something, maybe you take the time ahead of time to create and put a flower arrangement on the table. Maybe you have candles lit. Maybe you use spaces like that to have a creative game that you play. You take a flower and you imagine something happening with the flower, or you just take a fork and somebody has to make up a story with a fork. That
Yeah.
would be a cool thing for families to do too.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of creative ways that you can make it less formal so that no one feels pressure to have to talk about certain things. I've seen lots of little games that you can buy that are like conversation cards. And maybe you
Uh-huh.
have conversation cards always on your table. And your family can say, whenever we're sitting around a table together, maybe two or three of us at a table, we pull a conversation card. We read the card, and then it gives us 5 minutes to talk about whatever that says. It could be something as simple as, what's your favorite animal? Or if you could travel the world, where would you most like to see? What would you most like to see? Or something like that. It could be anything 30,000-foot level, but as parents, I think when we have conversations like that, that are higher surface, it strengthens the relationship so that when we get into those deeper levels of need to converse with our kids, we've already set the pattern that whatever you say is going to be accepted. And there's not going to be any judgment around whatever your favorite animal is or where you want to travel, right? You're free to have your right to say. And those things happen over long terms. And
Mhm.
usually our kids, when they start young, they don't have the big peer pressure issues that they do once they become teenagers. And that's why from the very youngest point, we work on those conversation skills, the rapport building, the trust building, so that when they do have those really serious problems they're facing at school, whether it's bullying, whether it's trafficking, whether it's abuse, those are the big things that silence our kids, and we don't want them to be silenced during those occasions. We want them to feel that they can come to us and talk, because we oftentimes are then their only advocate, and they need an advocate somewhere.
You're triggering so much within me. It's amazing. It's like, it's like now that my grandparents are gone, when I was a kid, I didn't want to listen to the things my grandparents had to say sometimes, but boy, would I love to sit down and have conversations with them now. But
Yes.
I'm also thinking that as a child, I would just love to hear my parents sitting down and telling me some of the crazy things that happened to them as a child, or the things that happened, so I could be the one saying, "Oh my God, what?"
Yeah, to me, that's interesting. In the courses that I used to give a few years ago, one of the questions as we're teaching kids how to have better conversation skills, right? And one of the first assignments they were given after learning the principles of effective conversation, I would assign them to go ask mom or dad, someone they knew well. It could be grandma or grandpa, but somebody, not a stranger, someone they knew well. Questions such as, what music did you listen to in high school? Tell me about your best friend when you were in elementary school, or something like that. When they ask their parents these types of questions with the idea to then effectively converse, the students would come back the next day and they go, "Oh, Miss Jackie, you wouldn't believe it. I had a conversation with my mom that lasted 30 minutes. We were laughing so hard about her childhood and things she went through. And you know what I found out? I found out that my mom's not so straight-laced as I thought she was. She actually skipped school a couple of times, and when kids learn their parents aren't so perfect, they now can feel more okay and comfortable talking to them about ways that they're not so perfect because they're not going to be judged any longer. And so inviting kids to have those conversations with the parents, as you say, about some of those things that maybe we wouldn't necessarily ask them. What was your first job, Dad? Or when did you know you wanted to be a computer programmer, or whatever it is? Those are excellent questions to encourage kids to ask their parents, because otherwise they don't really know who their parents are.
Oh, God, I could talk to you forever. And everybody listening, I think you get a feel that Jackie is a treasure chest of loving wisdom that is there to be opened. So, in a few minutes, can you just share what your free gift is for everybody, Jackie?
Thank you. Yes, I would do that. I have an e-workbook that's called How to Save Your Silenced Child. And it does indicate in several ways, as we talked a little bit about in our conversation just now, how we as parents sometimes inadvertently silence our children by not listening or by being an example to them of how we're involved in other things or find priorities that are over communicating with our kids. And by learning some of those ways, you can self reflect and wonder, am I doing those things? And then I will give tips in that workbook as to how you can stop that if you are doing it and be better at your conversation skills with your kids so that you can go where they are, find them where they are, make sure that if they're not safe in that place, that you can, through conversation, invite them back to where they can find comfort in you as their parent and feel safe telling you the things that maybe they've been silenced about. And in that workbook is also a little bit of my personal story about why I do what I do today and the ways that I was silenced through abuse. It doesn't always happen through abuse, but silencing happens at school and at home and in organizations that our kids are involved in. They interpret it as being silenced when they're not heard, and it's really important to them. So it's a free workbook. It's not very long. It's maybe 17 pages in a PDF format, easy to get through, and maybe a 20-minute sitting. But you'll learn a lot about what you might be doing as a parent and how you can improve your relationships with your children.
Oh, thank you, Jackie. And the link to that is in the chat window. And also reach out to Jackie at Speak Feed Lead organization. You can also contact her there. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And in addition to Jackie's gifts, you'll find 2 free gifts that I've wrapped for you in the chat window also. And you can also go to timothystuetz.com and click the freebie tab. There's something there for every member of the family. And I want to thank you so, so much for being with me on all these Raising Brilliant Children episodes, where we've shared new insights, perspectives, and surprises to help you and your children live more brilliant, healthy, and happy lives from womb to independence, and wire you and your children for future success. Again, you can reach me too at timothystuetz.com. And with all my blessings for peace, love, vibrant health, and bliss, wrapped in infinite rainbows of miraculous, magical miracles for you your children, and your family. Aloha and mahalo for tuning in, for being here now. Be and radiate the divine light, the aloha, the brilliance you are in each moment.